Welcome to Better's Bet, where we bet better. My name is Alec. This is Mohxzy. We're going to be breaking down these college football games, starting with some games played later today. Let's go ahead and start it off with this Nebraska Rutgers game. And what do you got to say about this game, Lee?
Nebraska should have won that game against Indiana. I mean, you give up 21 points to Indiana, tie game 21-21 at halftime, and then Indiana just shit the bed, I guess. So, do I really trust this Nebraska team losing their head coach? Man, it might be a crap shoot. Nebraska is 4-0 in conference play since 14, but 2-2 against the spread. And the visitor in this has covered all of the four meetings.
Nebraska is the visitor this week.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of leaning towards Rutgers. Rutgers need to get their season going. They just need to get their seasons going. Let me throw it to you.
I mean, I'm off this game. When we talked about this game a little earlier, I think fading the trend that the visitors covered all four meetings. I mean, I don't know. I don't follow Rutgers too closely. Don't really know much about this Nebraska team other than what we talked about last week with Nebraska beating Indiana and them blowing the lead. And I don't know. I don't have anything to add into this game other than I would probably ride with the trend of the visitor covering the past four meetings. If the shooter's hot on the dice, you keep rolling with them until he loses, right?
Yeah.
That's just where my brain goes. But I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna put any official plays on this. I don't even think I'm gonna bet this game today. That does lead us into our next game that I will be betting on, and that is Colorado State at Nevada. Nevada's sitting at 2.5-point favorites, and I really like Nevada here. They're on a down year for sure, sitting at a 2-3 record, but they're playing a winless Colorado State team who just so happens to have the head coach from Colorado State. They got a bunch of players that used to play at Colorado State. And I mean, what do you think they want to do?
I think they want to beat the shit out of them.
I mean, I really like this play. And it's not even, this isn't anything even statistical. I'm just going based off that. I'm not going to be putting like a lot of money on it, just a half unit, but I like Nevada here in this spot. It's 2.5 point spread. Can they win by more than a field goal? Probably. Nothing more than that. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Nevada side too. Getting the head coach, the ex-head coach from Colorado State, I think they come out and they just want to put it on Colorado State.
Just want to put on Colorado State? Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on to the Tennessee LSU game, I just want to thank everybody and anybody who has taken the time out of their day to watch this. If you haven't already, go ahead, comment your top plays down below. It doesn't even have to be for the college slate, college, NFL. Even if you have any baseball picks, anything that you want to throw out there and just talk about, we want to create an environment here where, we can just talk about any plays at any time. And in the future, we definitely, like, we want to have people come on and talk about their stuff, and any guest appearances and anything like that. I know, coming up here soon, I know we're gonna have Raven on. We're gonna have Raven
Yeah.
pop in as a guest, and you know s- hear what he has to say, because Raven always has some good insights. And I don't know, I really want to build a community where we can just, talk about different points of view. And especially when it comes to college, I mean, this is really your bread and butter, but I feel like me and you really don't see eye to eye a lot of the times. Because I know you like to lean a little towards what I have to say in NFL, but it is not that way in college. You have very strong opinions on college football. So yeah, I love getting all different angles and different points of view. So I just wanted to take this little bit of time just to say my 2 cents. Thank everybody and anybody who's takes the time to watch these breakdowns. And let's move on into Tennessee at LSU. Tennessee's 3-point favorites right now. Uh, as of right now, as filming this, Tennessee's quarterback's in concussion protocol. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are you thinking in this matchup?
Tennessee's ranked 8, 4-0. LSU's 4-1 here. And I like taking dogs. And I think if LSU wins this game, they could crack this top 25 right here. So
I
give
think they
me.
are ranked 25th right now.
Okay. Well, if they want to creep down even more and mess up these rankings, I think I'm leaning towards LSU plus the points, buy the hook, sprinkle a little money line on it. Give me it.
So you're taking LSU money line, or LSU plus 3.5, but you're gonna sprinkle a little money line on that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You know, I really like Tennessee. I like Tennessee's pace of play. They're one of the fastest operating offenses in college football. LSU hasn't been ranked in over a year, and I know I love home dogs also. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I don't know about this LSU team. I just I it's not more, it's more of the fact that I just like Tennessee more.
Okay.
Um
One factor in there is LSU has won the last four and 4-0 against the spread against hosting SEC East foes.
okay. But hasn't Tennessee won the last 5 meetings against LSU?
Have they?
I believe
Oh
so.
yeah, one last five.
I don't know. I mean, that's a spread against the division they play in, but not the team specifically. I,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go the opposite direction of you. I'd buy the hook in Tennessee's direction and look at them to win by more than a field goal.
Okay.
That's my look on it. But we can go ahead and we can move on to that next game, which is TCU at Kansas. 9 a.m. start also. What you thinking about this one? Kansas is, or sorry, Kansas is a home dog. TCU's favored 6.5.
I like home dogs, and I think I like Kansas in this spot. You know, I think TCU might have a letdown game. They blew out Oklahoma. I really think they're not going to come out firing 21-0 in this game. This game is going to be a close game. Man, you could possibly sprinkle a little money line on it because I think Kansas is maybe the second best team in the Big 12.
I can agree with the pick. I definitely like the points here. I like Kansas plus the points. I mean TCU's. I mean looking at the stats here, TCU's 9-1 straight up against Kansas, but they're 3-7 against the spread. Kansas went a long time. I mean they were pretty bad for a while.
Yeah, and this
This
right
ain't the
here,
Kansas. This ain't the Kansas of 5, 6, 7 years ago.
yeah, they really have proven.
I mean, TCU is coming off that big win against Oklahoma, and TCU has a big game next week against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Kansas has Oklahoma at Oklahoma next week off the Red River game. It's a little bit different when you're looking ahead. I like Kansas in this spot. I like them plus the 6.5 for sure. But this leads us into our heated debate of the program here. Actually, no, it doesn't. We're not quite there yet. We do have one more game to talk about, and that is the Red River game. Sorry. Texas facing off against Oklahoma. Texas 8.5-point favorites. And I think we're actually in agreement here, aren't we? Thinking Oklahoma plus the 8.5.
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Man, I don't know about this Texas team. You know, their first couple of games, they showed up. And, I mean, this Red River showdown has been close and decided by 8 points or less besides one.
You know who Texas has next week, right?
I do not. I didn't look that far.
Oh, you didn't look that far? Texas is playing Iowa State at home next week. Where Oklahoma has Kansas. Oklahoma coming off that blowout loss at TCU. Maybe looking ahead to this game last week.
Yeah.
I just think this is a spot that, Oklahoma's going to maybe not win the game. Maybe 8.5 is just a little too much for Texas to cover. It's a straight up win, but against the spread loss.
Yeah, this Big 12 defense, not too great. Not too great.
The total is sitting at 65.5. Potentially an over.
Yeah, you got the sharp money on the over, but is it too much money on the over? Man, I don't know. Because that game's on Saturday, so it's going to change.
It is. But that now leads us into our heated debate. The next game we're going to talk about is Utah at UCLA. I'll go ahead and let you kick this one off first.
Man, I really like this UCLA team. I really do. I think they've proven themselves to be in the rankings. And this Utah team, this Utah team plays USC next week at home. Man. I think they're not even looking forward to this game. I feel like they're not. They're not looking forward to this. I think USC is where they're looking forward to.
See, this is where you and I disagree, only because UCLA has to go and play Oregon next week in or at Oregon. And Utah's already lost the game in the swamp against Florida week 1 of the season. And if they want any chance and any hope of making the top 4, they cannot afford another loss. Utah came into this season with some big expectations on their shoulders, and I think they wear that proudly. I feel like Utah kind of catches a break getting to play USC at home rather than on the road. Are they looking forward to that game next week? Probably. Are they looking past this game this week? I don't think so. Utah's won eight of the last 11 meetings. Although the visitor is just 1-3 straight up against the spread, including the last 2. I don't think UCLA. Let me put it this way: UCLA has lost the last 5 straight up by an average of 27 points per game. Is this the UCLA teams of past? No. I just think that UCLA is yet to lose a game, and I think they're due. I think this is the spot. This is the game that they're due for that first loss.
Okay. I just like that trend. Visitors 1-3. I think that trend could possibly keep going, but I'm going to lean UCLA plus the points.
Okay. Now we're gonna head over to the BYU Notre Dame game. Isn't that game here in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium?
Yep.
Well, I wish I was going. Notre Dame's 3.5-point favorites. They're sitting at a 2-2 record. They're playing against BYU, sitting at 4-1, and Notre Dame is 6-2 straight up and 5-3 against the spread versus BYU, including 3 straight wins in the last 3 matchups. But they're 2-1 against the spread in those last 3 games. What are you seeing here?
Man, I think this is a funky line. I think Notre Dame should not be favored 3.5. I think this should be a pick'em game because Notre Dame hasn't shown anything at all. They had their first game. They had a pretty good game, but their last 2 after that was just horrifying, just terrible. And this BYU team has shown people that they're good. They're getting better every single year. I think I'm leaning BYU plus 3.5 and money line.
So you're taking BYU plus 3.5 and sprinkle in the money line?
Yep.
Okay. Have you taken a look at any of the look aheads for next week for either squad?
I have not.
So Notre Dame gets to play Stanford at home next week. Not really much of a look ahead spot there. And BYU is also at home next week, and they are playing Arkansas.
Could be.
Yep, just confirmed. They're playing Arkansas. So not really a look ahead spot for either team. I am just curious, what do you mean by Notre Dame's last 2 matchups just being horrendous? Because they beat Cal 24-17, and then they beat North Carolina on the road 45-32.
Notre Dame lost to Marshall.
Yeah. That is
That's
true.
horrifying.
That is true.
This BYU team has proven the last 3 years, whatever, 4 years, that they're good, bro. They are good.
I think personally, I'm gonna stay off the game. I'm not gonna bet anything here, but I'll keep my eye out on that BYU money line. I'll see how that plays out for you. I'm rooting for you. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the matchups in the history, it looks like Notre Dame. Looks like Notre Dame, in my eyes, in the way the trends sitting right now, I would say I would probably take Notre Dame money line, but I'm off. I'm gonna look at it.
I mean, you got to realize Notre Dame really doesn't have any returning pieces like that. BYU has returned 11 defensive players from last year. Their quarterback came back, so 8 offensive players. I'm really loving this BYU team. They proven me. They proven me.
All right.
This Notre Dame team is funky, bro. They're funky. One game they could come out firing. The next game they look like shit, and they lost to Marshall, bro.
All right. Hey, own it on the pick. Let's cash it. All right, on to the next matchup, though. We have Kansas State on the road playing Iowa State. Kansas State beat Texas Tech at home last week, 37-28. They are currently sitting at 1.5-point favorites here as a road favorite. What do you think about this matchup?
Man, I think I'm leaning towards Iowa State money line. They won 3 of the last 4 meetings versus Kansas State after losing 10 straight. Iowa State is 9-0 straight up and 7-2 against the spread in Big 12 games. Give me Iowa State money line.
I agree with you. I like Iowa State here in this spot. They just lost to Kansas last week on the road.
Yeah,
14 to
11. Yeah.
So I don't see them losing to both Kansas squads.
Nope.
They got a big game following week. They got to go play Texas at Texas. I think this is a spot where they say they try to solidify the win this week because they don't know about next week.
I agree.
I like it. I like the Iowa State money line. I would definitely be on that for sure. We will lock that in. Leads us to the next game, though. One that I actually haven't particularly looked too closely into. That's Florida State, North Carolina State. North Carolina State sitting at 3-point favorites. Take it away. Go ahead.
Man, this NC State team is pretty damn good. I mean, I think they're pretty pissed off they lost to Clemson. But the year before that, they won. But, man, NC State won 4 of the last 5 against Florida State. They're 16-4-1 ATS in this series. The under has cashed 12 of the last 18 meetings. Florida State, since 2010, is just 2-4 straight up and 0-6 against the spread. Give me NC State money line.
The under is cashed 12 of the last 18 meetings.
Yeah.
Total sitting at 50.5.
Yeah, that's pretty high. But, this Florida State team, it can score. But NC State defense is pretty solid.
I mean, Florida State was just held to 21 points last week against Wake Forest. How do you think Wake Forest's defense stacks up against NC State?
I get that. But, Wake Forest was due for that. They needed that win.
Hey, I'll ride that one with you. I'm gonna trust you on that North Carolina pick. North Carolina State. That leads us into the last matchup that we have to cover, and that's Oregon at Arizona. It's a 6 p.m. Pacific time game, 9 p.m. Eastern, and looks like Oregon is sitting currently as a 13-point favorite. What do you like here?
Man, I'll never put another dollar on Oregon. I'm not laying 13 points on Oregon. No. They got blown out by Georgia, and I took them plus, 17 and a half, and they just looked absolutely terrible. I mean, I think this Arizona team is, they're decent. They can hang in 13 points. Oregon leads the series 28-17 and have won 9 of the last 12 meetings. Okay. But Oregon has lost the last 2 against the spread and straight up in Tucson. And Arizona is the home team and has won 6 of the last 7, including 4 regular season meetings. They're 5-2 against the spread. Give me Arizona plus 13.
All right. I could definitely. I mean, I can't argue the statistics, and that trend there. I mean, they've won 6 of the last 7, 4 regular seasons meetings, and they're 5-2 against the spread. That's at home, right?
Yep, at home.
That's hard to go against it. I mean, I know Oregon's sitting at number 12, and to think about that too, Oregon has to play UCLA next week, and UCLA is playing Utah this week. It's a lot to think about. And then, I mean, when you look at it from the other side, Arizona's playing Washington on the road next week. So
yeah, but
I think it's gonna be 2 teams. It's gonna be 2 teams scrapping for a win this week. That's for sure. Any play on the total? It looks like it's sitting at 70.5 right now.
Man, I don't know about the total. Is Oregon going to put up 40 points? They could possibly do it. I haven't looked into Arizona's defense. I don't know how much they've given up. I say no side on the total and just take Arizona plus 13.
No side on the total and just take Arizona plus the 13.
Yeah, it's going to be a fight.
That I agree with you. I definitely see that being that way. So just to go over like everything that we went through, right? Because we wanna keep track of our picks, see what we're playing. So are you making a play on every single one of these games that we talked about, or are you gonna pick your spots?
I'm gonna go with probably picking my spots. I like NC State money line for sure. I like the Iowa State money line for sure. And I like my UCLA pick plus the points. And I like Arizona plus the 13. And I like Kansas plus the 6.5. And if you could get it at 7. Um, that statistic on the Red River Showdown, the 8 points, it's 8.5. I think it's gonna be a scrappy fight, and it maybe could possibly squeak over. Who knows?
Definitely, especially with that suspect defense from Oklahoma.
And
They're gonna have
Texas,
to tighten things up.
yeah, Texas defense isn't too strong either. So it could possibly squeak the over 65.
Squeak over that 65.
Yeah.
Well, I know the plays that I'm putting together for this week. I'm taking Nevada by the 2.5, Tennessee by 2.5, buying that down. I'm going to take Utah money line. I'm not going to mess with the 3.5 on the road, especially if it's a field goal game. I don't want to lose by the hook. I'll just take Utah money line. I'll pay the price. I like Kansas plus the 6.5. Be nice if it squeaked up to 7 so I could buy the hook at 7.5, but I'll take the 6.5. Iowa State money line, and I like Oklahoma plus the 8.5. I'll ride with those 6 picks. We'll lock those in, and we'll definitely keep track of those. We have Nevada playing tonight. We have 5 games on Saturday.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add it in before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah. Let's add that Indiana Michigan game. I really like Indiana. You could get them 3 touchdowns. I think that is possibly a good pick to look out for. Indiana beat Michigan just twice, 1987 and 2000. Okay. And but they covered 5 of the last 7 against the spread. Right? Home team has won 7 of the last 11, and Indiana is at home. I'm not saying they're going to beat Michigan, but to get 3 touchdowns, I think that right there is perfect. Indiana was looking forward to this game last week. That's why Nebraska, won. Indiana tied the game and just gave up.
Not a bad way to squeak that one in there. We'll see how that plays out. I'll keep my eye on it. I don't think I'm going to add that one to the card, but I will keep my eye on that one. I know it's a 9 a.m. kickoff. But all right, thanks you everybody to make it this far. If you made it to the end of the video, again, we appreciate every single person that takes the time out of their day to even watch just a couple minutes of this. Again, comment your top plays down below. Let us know what you think about our plays. We love transparency here, and if we're wrong, we definitely will own up to what we thought was right and what actually transpired. This is just the first week we got the show going. Not yet anything that we can really talk about as to like what picks we have documented, other than action and stuff like that. But now we get to really keep track of our plays, track our units, and really just have open, honest conversations about these things. So I'm super excited. I'm ready to get these games started, and let's cash these tickets.
Let's ride.